5.2.2 Heterotrophic Nutrition. Each organism is adapted to its environment. The form of nutrition differs depending on the type and availability of food material as well as how it is obtained by the organism. For example, whether the food source is stationary, such as grass, or mobile, such as a deer, would allow for differences in how the food is accessed and what is the nutritive apparatus used by a cow and a lion. There is a range of strategies by which the food is taken in and used by the organism. Some organisms break down the food materials outside the body and then absorb it. Examples are fungi like bread molds, yeast, and mushrooms. Others take in whole material and break it down inside their bodies. What can be taken in and broken down depends on the body design and functioning. Some other organisms derive nutrition from plants or animals without killing them. This parasitic nutritive strategy is used by a wide variety of organisms like cuscuta, amarbel, ticks, lice, leeches, and tapeworms. 5.2.3 How do organisms obtain their nutrition? Since the food and the way it is obtained differ, the digestive system is different in various organisms. In single-celled organisms, the food may be taken in by the entire surface. But as the complexity of the organism increases, different parts become specialized to perform different functions. For example, amoeba takes in food using temporary finger-like extensions of the cell surface which fuse over the food particles, forming a food vacuole, figure 5.5. Inside the food vacuole, complex substances are broken down into simpler ones which then diffuse into the cytoplasm. The remaining undigested material is moved to the surface of the cell and thrown out. In paramecium, which is also a unicellular organism, the cell has a definite shape and food is taken in at a specific spot. Food is moved to this spot by the movement of cilia which cover the entire surface of the cell. 5.2.4 Nutrition in human beings. The alimentary canal is basically a long tube extending from the mouth to the anus. In figure 5.6, we can see that the tube has different parts. Various regions are specialized to perform different functions. What happens to the food once it enters our body? We shall discuss this process here. Activity 5.3. Take 1 ml starch solution, 1%, in 2 test tubes, test tube A and B. Add 1 ml saliva to test tube A and leave both test tubes undisturbed for 20 to 30 minutes. Now, add a few drops of dilute iodine solution to the test tubes. In which test tube do you observe a color change? What does this indicate about the presence or absence of starch in the 2 test tubes? What does this tell us about the action of saliva on starch? We eat various types of food which has to pass through the same digestive tract. Naturally, the food has to be processed to generate particles which are small and of the same texture. This is achieved by crushing the food with our teeth. Since the lining of the canal is soft, the food is also wetted to make its passage smooth. When we eat something we like, our mouth waters. This is actually not only water but also a fluid called saliva secreted by the salivary glands. Another aspect of the food we ingest is its complex nature. If it is to be absorbed from the alimentary canal, it has to be broken into smaller molecules. This is done with the help of biological catalyst called enzymes. The saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase that breaks down starch, which is a complex molecule, to give simple sugar. The food is mixed thoroughly with saliva and moved around the mouth while chewing by the muscular tongue. It is necessary to move the food in a regulated manner along the digestive tube so that it can be processed properly in each part. The lining canal has muscles that contract rhythmically in order to push the food forward. These peristaltic movements occur all along the gut. From the mouth, the food is taken to the stomach through the food pipe or esophagus. The stomach is a large organ which expands when food enters it. The muscular walls of the stomach help in mixing the food thoroughly with more digestive juices. The digestion in stomach is taken care of by the gastric glands present in the wall of the stomach. These release hydrochloric acid, a protein digesting enzyme called pepsin, and mucus. The hydrochloric acid creates an acidic medium which facilitates the action of enzyme pepsin. What other functions do you think is served by the acid? The mucus protects the inner lining of the stomach from the action of acid under normal conditions. We have often heard adults complaining about acidity. Can this be related to what has been discussed above? The exit of food from the stomach is regulated by a sphincter muscle which releases it in small amounts into the small intestine. From the stomach, the food now enters the small intestine. This is the longest part of the alimentary canal, which is fitted into a compact space because of the extensive coiling. The length of the small intestine differs in various animals depending on the food they eat. Herbivores eating grass needed a longer small intestine to allow the cellulose to be digested. Meat is easier to digest, hence carnivores like tigers have a shorter small intestine. The small intestine is the site of the complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. It receives the secretions of the liver and pancreas for this purpose. The food coming from the stomach is acidic and has to be made alkaline for the pancreatic enzymes to act. Bile juice from the liver accomplishes this in addition to acting on fats. Fats are present in the intestine in the form of large globules, which makes it difficult for enzymes to act on them. Bile salts break them down into smaller globules, increasing the efficiency of enzyme action. This is similar to the emulsifying action of soaps on dirt that we have learnt about in chapter 4. The pancreas secretes pancreatic juice, which contains enzymes like trypsin for digesting proteins and lipase for breaking down emulsified fat. The walls of the small intestine contain glands which secrete intestinal juice. The enzymes present in it finally convert the proteins to amino acids, complex carbohydrates into glucose, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Digested food is taken up by the walls of the intestine. The inner lining of the small intestine has numerous finger-like projections called villi, which increase the surface area for absorption. The villi are richly supplied with blood vessels, which take the absorbed food to each and every cell of the body, where it is utilized for obtaining energy, building up new tissues, and the repair of old material. The unabsorbed food is sent into the large intestine, where its wall absorbs more water from this material. The rest of the material is removed from the body via the anus. The exit of this waste material is regulated by the anal sphincter. Dental caries. Dental caries or tooth decay causes gradual softening of enamel and dentine. It begins when bacteria acting on sugar produce acids that softens or demineralizes the enamel. Masses of bacterial cells together with the food particles stick to the teeth to form dental plaque. Saliva cannot reach the tooth surface to neutralize the acids as plaque covers the teeth. Brushing the teeth after eating removes the plaque before the bacteria produce acids. If untreated, microorganisms may invade the pulp, causing inflammation and infection. Questions: what are the differences between autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition? Second, where do plants get each of the raw materials required for photosynthesis? Third, what is the role of the acid in our stomach? 4. What is the function of digestive enzymes? 5. How is the small intestine designed to absorb digestive